Imagine someone with a dark past moving into your city, blending in perfectly, while hiding a horrifying secret. It was a crisp autumn morning in London when David Harrison arrived. To everyone around him, he was just another newcomer, a quiet man with polite manners and a subtle smile. But beneath the calm exterior, David carried a horrifying secret. Years ago, in another country, he had murdered his wife. That dark act had been buried, or so he thought. London, with its busy streets and countless faces, seemed like the perfect place to disappear. But David wasn't running from the law, he was running towards something even darker. Just a few weeks after moving in, neighbors began noticing strange things, lights flicking on and off late at night, the faint sound of arguments, or was it screams, behind closed doors. Some dismissed it as the oddities of city life. Others had a gut feeling something was off. Then came the day Alice Gross walked into David's orbit. She was 14, bright, curious, and loved to wander her neighborhood after school. That day, she was on her way home from a friend's house, the sun warm on her face and the streets bustling with activity. David noticed her from across the street. He watched, silently, his eyes following her every move. A chill runs down your spine imagining that someone could be watching your child without you knowing. Alice passed under a bridge, smiling at a group of pigeons pecking at crumbs on the sidewalk. The last CCTV camera in that area captured her carefree walk, but David was no stranger to observation. He knew exactly where the cameras were, where the blind spots were, and where he could linger unseen. Here's a question for you. Have you ever walked down a street thinking you were alone, only to feel eyes on you? That's exactly the vulnerability Alice unknowingly faced. As days passed, David's movements became more calculated. He started leaving small, almost unnoticeable markers, a discarded glove here, a footprint there. Nothing anyone else would think twice about, but they mapped out a trail only he understood. Alice's parents were cautious but didn't know the true threat lurking so close. They trusted their community, and like many of us, they assumed danger was something that happened far away. But David had learned from his past. He knew how to stay one step ahead, how to manipulate and hide in plain sight. And now, his eyes were set on a new prey, a new chapter of horror he could continue without consequence. The city seemed oblivious, but shadows can stretch further than the city lights. And in those shadows, David waited. For the audience, what would you do if you realized someone with a dangerous past was living just a few blocks away from you? Think about it. As night fell, the streets emptied, and David's plan moved closer to execution. Every step he took, every glance he gave, was measured. Before we move to the next part, here's something important. If you love your country, hit that subscribe button and comment your city below. I'll make the next video focusing on your city and uncover stories that could be happening right where you live. Don't miss it. 7 minutes. That's all it took for a normal day to turn into a nightmare. Alice Gross had left her friend's house that afternoon, humming a tune only she knew. The sun cast long shadows on the sidewalks as London's residents went about their business, unaware of the predator walking among them. David Harrison had tracked Alice for days. He knew her routine, the streets she took, the stores she passed, the little shortcuts she preferred. And now, all of that planning would come to fruition. The CCTV camera caught Alice under the bridge one last time. She was laughing at a bird that had startled her, completely unaware that David was behind her, keeping a careful distance. His movements were deliberate, almost invisible, blending perfectly with the crowd. Here's a chilling thought. How safe do you feel when walking alone? Are you aware of who might be following you? That sense of vulnerability is what made David's actions terrifying. As Alice continued home, a shadow fell across the pavement. A quick glance, a brief smile from a stranger, David had learned how to appear harmless, how to slip past suspicion. And then, just like that, Alice vanished. There were no screams, no struggle. Just emptiness. 7 minutes and a young girl had disappeared into thin air. The city would wake up to a mystery that no one could immediately understand. Neighbors started noticing small details: a bag left on a bench, a shoe by the roadside, the faint echo of a laugh that didn't belong. It was subtle, almost insignificant. But for those paying attention, there was a sense of unease. Something wasn't right. Police were called, but their early investigation revealed little. There were no witnesses, no clear signs of what had happened. London streets were filled with people, yet no one seemed to notice the presence of danger until it was too late. For the audience, have you ever felt a shiver down your spine when something didn't seem right? Imagine feeling that all the time, knowing a predator is nearby. David, meanwhile, remained calm. He had covered his tracks meticulously, leaving no trace that would lead back to him. He understood the psychology of fear, the way people search for obvious answers while ignoring subtle truths. But despite his careful planning, the city was about to close in. The media picked up Alice's disappearance, parents grew frantic, and neighbors became suspicious of strangers lingering too long in quiet streets. Alice's friends remembered the last time they saw her, their memories replaying her smile, her laughter, the way she had waved goodbye. Each recollection was another reminder that she had vanished without a trace, and every person questioned if they could have done something to prevent it. Here's a question for viewers: if you were walking alone and sensed someone following you, what would you do? Would you trust your instincts, or brush it off as paranoia? As night fell over London, David's apartment seemed ordinary, but inside, the air was thick with tension. Plans were unfolding, secrets remained hidden, and a young girl's fate hung in the balance. Before we move to part 3, remember, if you love your country, hit that subscribe button and comment your city below. The next video will reveal how these horrifying events ripple through communities just like yours. Don't miss it. Sometimes the smallest clue can reveal the darkest truth. The city of London was shaken. Alice Gross's disappearance had become headline news, her photo plastered on buses, newspapers, and social media. Parents whispered warnings to their children, friends held vigil at street corners, and detectives were under immense pressure to solve the case. Detective Sarah Mitchell had been assigned to the investigation. Known for her sharp intuition and relentless pursuit of truth, she quickly realized this was no ordinary disappearance. Something about Alice's case didn't add up: no witnesses, no struggle, and the timeline was oddly precise. Meanwhile, David Harrison continued his careful routine. To the outside world, he was just another quiet tenant. But inside his apartment, his obsession with control and manipulation was growing. Every news report, every police update, was analyzed meticulously. He knew they were getting closer, but he also knew how to stay one step ahead. Have you ever felt that sinking feeling when someone is hiding the truth from everyone around them? That's exactly what London was feeling. An invisible predator had infiltrated their city. Detective Mitchell retraced Alice's last steps, examining CCTV footage, talking to neighbors, and studying the small details that others overlooked. And then she noticed something peculiar: a pattern of small, seemingly insignificant events leading up to Alice's disappearance. A stray glove. A misplaced backpack. Footprints leading to nowhere. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but to a trained eye, it screamed of planning and calculation. Someone had orchestrated this disappearance carefully, like a dark puzzle meant to confuse investigators. As the investigation progressed, the pressure on David intensified. He knew that mistakes, even tiny ones, could reveal him. But confidence and arrogance often go hand in hand with danger, and David's sense of invincibility had grown over the years. If someone with a deadly past was living in your neighborhood, would you notice the warning signs, or assume everything was normal? Sarah and her team followed every lead, interviewing friends, family, and local residents. The closer they got to the truth, the more patterns emerged. They began linking David Harrison to odd incidents in his past, pieces of information that no one else had connected before. Meanwhile, London watched anxiously. Social media exploded with tips, theories, and warnings. Parents warned each other to keep their children close, and streets that were once familiar became frightening. But the most chilling part? David was still out there, calm, calculating, and one step ahead. Every clue discovered by the detectives was anticipated by him, and every move the police made seemed almost guided by his own foresight. Would you risk confronting someone you suspected of a dark past, or would you leave it to the authorities? Think about your answer. It's not as easy as it sounds. As Part 3 closes, Detective Mitchell feels the weight of the case. The pieces are slowly coming together, and soon the horrifying truth about David Harrison's past and present will surface. Before moving to the final part, here's something new. If you think justice should always be served, smash that like button and share your thoughts below. What would you do if this happened in your city? Your comment could be featured in the next story. What if the person you trusted the least was capable of the unthinkable? Before we dive in, if you're ready to uncover the shocking truth, hit that subscribe button now and comment below with your city. We'll explore dark stories that could be happening near you. The investigation had reached a critical point. Detective Sarah Mitchell had pieced together David Harrison's past, his previous crime, the way he manipulated people, and the careful precision with which he had tracked Alice. Every lead pointed to the same horrifying conclusion: Alice had been targeted intentionally. David, meanwhile, remained outwardly calm. But behind closed doors, the weight of scrutiny was beginning to crack his composed facade. He knew the net was closing in, and his meticulous planning might not be enough this time. Have you ever wondered if someone could hide evil behind a normal smile? That thought haunted the detectives as they studied David's patterns, searching for any misstep. Using digital footprints, CCTV cross-references, and witness interviews, the police finally identified David's apartment as a key location. The evidence was subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but to Mitchell, it screamed guilt. The breakthrough came when a small piece of overlooked footage revealed Alice following the same route she had taken countless times. But in this clip, David was there, calm, deliberate, and completely aware of being recorded. It was the crack in his perfect facade, the evidence needed to confront him. Alice's disappearance had terrorized the city, but now hope flickered. Detectives coordinated a careful operation, moving quickly but cautiously to avoid alerting David. What would you do if the person next door turned out to be a predator hiding a deadly past? Would you confront them, or wait for the authorities? The confrontation was tense. David tried to appear composed, but the detectives were ready. Questions were sharp, the room heavy with anticipation. And then, the truth spilled out: his prior murder, his obsession with control, and the chilling steps he had taken to stalk Alice. London breathed a collective sigh of relief, but the horror of what could have happened left an indelible mark. Alice was safe, but the story had shaken the city's sense of security, a stark reminder that danger often hides in plain sight. As the city recovered, Detective Mitchell reflected on the case. Meticulous investigation, attention to detail, and relentless pursuit of truth had prevented a tragedy from escalating further. Do you think someone like David could be living near you right now? How would you protect your loved ones? Share your thoughts in the comments. We might feature your ideas in the next story. And finally, if you've followed this story from start to finish, don't forget to like this video, comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any future stories of suspense, mystery, and real-life danger.